It's like a comic when they're like, you want to hear one more joke? It's like, nobody does. We'd like to go home. We're hostages. Take me home.
Or it's not working. Your like last joke isn't working. It's like, let me try another one. It's like, no, you're done.
Everybody's like, actually cut your losses.
Yeah. You already said you were done.
You know how I feel about this. If stand-up comics unionized, you'd have to pay a fine for going over your spot time.
What's a kit?
Like my bag of shin guards, shin rash guards, turf shoes, sticks, mouth guard, gloves.
Protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot it. I had one of each thing in my trunk already.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's what, and when you live in LA, everything's in your trunk. I don't know anything about field hockey.
Well,
Wait, did I ever tell you what my grandpa, it's like kind of, it's a really sweet story that could have been the beginning of a great field hockey sports movie.
I'm listening.
Yeah. When we moved up to Chicago, he brought me, I was like in 7th grade. He brought me to this field that had ivy all around it. Mm-hmm. And then we peeked through and he told me, it's like, after school, I want to bring you somewhere. And so I didn't know what he was going to show me. And he had me look through the little hole through the ivy, and it was girls playing field hockey. And he's just like,
this is one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah. He's just like, this is a sport.
Mo, I'd like to teach you how to be a bit of a peeping Tom. Runs in the family.
Yeah, he's like peeping Tom.
He's like, you see that there? Those are called skirts.
I thought it was like his way of being like, I know you're gay. But it could have been a good sports movie. It could have been the beginning of the field.
So he kind of wanted to push you towards field hockey, and you said, no, I'm going to be a baller.
I think he wanted to show me. I think he probably just thought I should be in some sports to keep me off the streets.
And out of the cemeteries you love to play in.
Yes, of course.
He's like,
this
look,
freak, this goth
I know you like
freak.
having all your friends be dead, but
yes.
Sometimes people talk back, and they're walking around this earth, and they're your age. Yeah, you play field hockey is played with a stick. It always gets confused with lacrosse. They're not the same thing at all. They each have a stick, but lacrosse has a little net at the end of it.
It seems
it's in the
Ivy
air.
League though.
The only motion is similar, but field hockey's on the ground.
Yeah,
and because you can only use the flat side of a field hockey stick. One side's curved.
They should make the sticks longer.
Mine is
so you
long.
don't have to bend down that much.
No, I mean it should come up to about your hip.
No,
I get low so I can dominate.
Yeah.
And I'm tall.
Yeah.
But anyway, we won last night.
Great.
That being said, it was 7-on-6 for the first half. Thank you. And then Christina showed up at halftime, and she joined the other team on defense, and she stuffed me a couple times.
Ooh.
It did awaken a beast within me, and I came back.
And you won because of you. Did you score?
See, I'm a defender.
So?
And
sounds like excuses to me, Beth.
But Dave was getting tired up and forward, and he made me switch him, and so that made me run. And I'm sure a couple people on the team would say you could have run a little more.
Yeah.
But I got.
You were I was podcasting before.
Yeah,
you expect me to run?
I'm so excited from podcasting.
I'm tired from my jokes.
And did you play basketball?
I played basketball today. I just shot around a little bit because
alone?
I've told you.
I know you have some big plans for the LA basketball scene and your career.
This is my last season, and so I'm trying to recruit a ringer right now, and I'm offering money to
a bit of a signing bonus.
A signing bonus because you in the rule book it says nothing about money. And so I'm trying to pay somebody to come join my
money
league.
in women's sports, big bucks. This is kind of synonymous.
This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a way to be a female athlete in LA and get paid.
And that's something you can put on your resume.
Up to $200, I'm sure.
Wow. That's how high you're going. That's got to be for the top player, though.
Yeah. Oh, this is the ringer.
What's the ideal player for you right now? What if they're just tall but a tree? They have no footwork.
No, they don't really have to be tall. Like I would love to get somebody who's like has like young bones and like is like, you know,
Not
somebody
brittle.
early 20s,
taut skin.
Yeah,
bounce
just
back.
got out of college or played overseas, or even somebody who just retired from. Maybe Sue Bird will come join the team.
Yeah,
she just
Sue's
retired.
probably not busy right now.
Yeah.
I had a misconception about basketball that all of them are tall. But the point guard situation seems to be.
Yeah, you don't have to be
little.
Yeah.
And by little, what does that mean? Are we talking 5'9"? I'm 5'9".
No, with like women's basketball, there are definitely some 5'6".
Wow,
I'd say.
point guards?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
And then in the NBA, the shortest player for a second was Isaiah Thomas. He's probably 5'10", which means he's 5'8". Yeah.
Even the basketball players lie on their profiles.
Yeah, they do.
I saw Brittany Griner in the Phoenix airport a couple weeks ago, and I told you immediately.
Was she standing up or sitting down?
Standing and walking.
And was it like
extraordinarily
she's like
tall.
a huge presence?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for the longest time, it was Muggsy Bogues.
And Spud Webb.
Yeah, Muggsy was like that growing up, I remember.
He was cool. Like, as a kid, you looked up to him, even if you were the same height as him.
Shannon.
Because he was like, it had like the thing of like, well, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And his real name's Tyrone, which is one of my favorite names.
That is incredible. 5'3". Can you imagine? Because you know he's lying about it. You know he's 5'2".
You think?
Yeah.
So hold on. It says he's 5'2", and you think he's smaller.
No, it says he's 5'3", which means he's probably 5'2".
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I do remember, like, you know how kids stare? I had a big staring problem. My family loves to tell the story of when we went to Perkins. No, Bob Evans is
like
a restaurant. Let's give it a little more credit than Denny's.
Yeah,
Bob Evans is closer to Cracker Barrel than Denny's.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's got some biscuits that are pretty solid, and it was a reliable breakfast meal.
It's bland food in the Midwest, but
Perkins
it's cool
was
because
in the same realm.
I do love Perkins because it's like a barn, so it was fun. Yeah,
yeah. And as a kid, you know, when you're just hearing stuff and you don't know how to spell, it was definitely like Bob Evans, just one word.
When I was in college, they got a Perkins.
Perkins was my mom's favorite.
Yeah, I actually would go and get the salmon to go. And I was like, I am so healthy. And I would get salmon to go and then go eat it in my dorm room.
I can't believe
it. And a
it.
milkshake.
Ew.
Yeah, no, their milkshakes are good.
My mom, she kind of got classy on us one Sunday after church. It would be me, Megan, Hannah, and my mom at Perkins. And my mom turns to the waitress, and we've all ordered what we usually get. And she said, and I'll do it with a croissant. We never let her live that down. What do you think? You're French, Diane?
We're to Perkins in Dayton, Ohio.
I'll take the moons over my hammy and a croissant. I did just make an error. Moons over my hammy is a Denny's dish.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, she loved Perkins. I'm trying to remember what she would even get. Gun to my head. What if I was going to die if I couldn't remember my mom's
Who's putting a gun
Perkins
to your
order?
head to remember your mom's Perkins order?
Okay, sorry for being violent.
Okay, give me look at your text right now.
Okay.
And on the first page.
What do I got?
Yeah.
I got my agent messing up.
I actually have a text that is giving me a set list or
for tonight's show?
Roster. Yeah, that has your name on it. You're at 8:55. And I'm first at 7:30.
You want to switch or how do you feel?
No, the first person is always the best one.
You want to take the bullet?
Oh, I want to get it in and out. Yeah.
I have to do the lab afterwards.
Well, it's
and if
right
they have me
next door.
closing that,
you might be.
Maybe I'll text Maddie. Maddie Fontana's show. He's the most Boston comic ever.
Yeah.
One time he brought me up and he was like, she's the hottest comic to book. And I was like, I thought that was going somewhere way different. I thought he was going to call me hot.
Yeah.
He just meant I was hard to get in touch with.
You're the hottest. You're the hottest.
You're the hottest comic to
Did you think he said
book.
hot? Because that when you just said that, okay, and he was saying hottest?
Yes. That's how Boston he is, that he hurts my feelings.
I always wonder in...
I want to go back to when they used to bring us up like, porker.
Oh my God. Yes.
Coming to the stage.
Ha ha hotties in Chicago.
Did we? That's how I met the Putterball sisters.
Yeah.
There was a show in Chicago back in the day called Ha Ha Hotties.
Ha ha hotties. And
honestly, none of us were hot.
Well, we were.
I don't want to speak for everybody,
we were
but I
Chicago
like crap.
female comic hot, which I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in with our winter coats, full winter coats and Uggs.
Yeah, like
there's probably
Hottie Chicago, The Edge
piece.
Right? Edge Comedy Club. Yeah, there was always some controversy with Edge Comedy Club back in the day. In the nothing's coming up. I mean, look, that's actually the joy.
It was so long
you could show
ago.
up looking like garbage.
I will say,
I'm kind of coming full circle back to that, but it took me a while to not care again.
Listen,
every show didn't used to be
a photographer, yes,
documented.
All taped. I mean, thank God with those jokes, those weren't online.
Oh my gosh, I have some
horrible, just some of the worst jokes.
I genuinely,
they're not even jokes.
That's why I can't get mad. Sometimes I'll see women on stage, and obviously we're not a monolith. Everybody's different. We know that. I have all lineup shows all the time on my headlining weekends. Like I do all women, no big deal. But I will say, sometimes I watch and I go, ooh, that's not helping, girl.
Yeah.
That is not helping.
Yeah.
And usually it's a graphic tale about anal gone wrong. And I'm like, we do need some jokes.
She stole
that would
from
be good
me.
to have the jokes. Mo's anal pit. And the other one is like, I like getting raped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Me Too movement ruined that.
Oh my God.
And you're like, okay, babe, so that's not what it is about. And I promise you don't like it.
Wow.
I'm just sort of like, why?
I get what you're saying, though. It's like the shock. It's like usually when people started as a shock comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I would, but that's the thing. I have to be forgiving because I do have an old bit that was like, I think it's a compliment if you get roofied.
Right.
It means somebody wants to sleep with you. And you'll have a really good story to tell the kid. And then I used to go, your dad and I met in a very non-traditional way. I was unconscious. But when I woke up, he was still there. And we've been dating ever since. And then I
still think you would take something from that joke and just the non-traditional way and then just build around that.
And then, obviously there's
blind.
First joke ever was probably like a chicken soup for the soul bit, unfortunately.
What? Like an essay?
Okay, if we're talking like first joke, that got me a laugh.
Or just like in stand-up, like your very first set.
What did I used to open with? Woo.
Oh,
do you remember?
Yeah, I wrote my joke that I kept for 10 years.
Mine was like a paragraph.
It was, I have big hands for a female. You know what they say about a lady with big hands? Gross. And that was the start of my set for like 10 years.
I know. That's why I was able to finish it for those who are just listening on the video. I mouthed it. My first joke, I'm trying to think. Oh, if I have to guess, it's in the realm of it. I bombed so hard in front of Chris, my bagel boyfriend's family, that weekend.
Oh.
I was featuring, and Vince, the host, you could tell was like mad. Like he was mad I was featuring and he was hosting.
Oh.
There was a vibe.
I actually know.
I cried in my car. Did I call you?
No.
He was really doing his best to make me feel unwelcome. I was like, did he steal my bit? And I'm like, yes. And he eventually, of course, came around and was like nice to me. But the early days, it was like, I'd walk into the green room on a weekend I'm headlining and he has the football game on the loudest and is acting like I've come into his green room. And again, I get it. I'm young.
Yeah, but it was just so mean.
It was not nice.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to be nice. You just have to be like respectful. And he was like, you're only here because you're a woman. And it was Doby Maxwell that was like, don't listen to him. I kind of said something because I was deeply sensitive and hurt.
Right.
It like made me go so inward. I was probably, who knows, 23?
That's why in those Chicago days, there were like guys that would say stuff like that would get girls that have only done comedy 20 times in their lives to never do it again.
I know.
Because you'd be like, well,
but
that's
Doby
toxic.
was like so kind to me, welcoming, and said, you are funny, keep up with it. But he stole a joke of mine and I had no time. So like he basically tagged himself up with my punchline on a Walmart story he had.
Wow.
So then when he did it on the, whatever that would have been, second, third, fourth show, mine fell flat. Like it hit the first show, and to be honest with you, probably one of the only jokes that hit.
Wow.
I'm bombing.
Wait,
and then he took it.
He took it during the weekend. That's insane.
Oh yeah, and right in front of me.
Didn't care. Wow.
And to be honest with you, I just don't remember if I said anything. I really don't think I did.
Probably not. It was,
And I was scared and it sucked. But the joke was, I'm walking along Halstead and I saw a sign for an open mic and I was looking at it and this fat, trashy hussy was like in the bar staring back at me. And then I was like, oh my God, that's my reflection.
Yeah.
That's an old joke of mine.
Right.
But he took it and added to his Walmart story. He's like talking about Walmart and people that are in there. And he's like, who's that fat like clown or whatever following me? And he's like, oh, that's Amir.
Wow.
So again, it's not like verbatim he took it, but like he took the joke, the punchline.
Yeah.
And then I just bombed even harder.
I think we have to have him on the show.
I'd love to get back
I think he should be one of our first guests and we should do a segment called Did You Steal Beth's joke.
You can have it, babe. I don't need it anymore. Again, like by the time I was headlining years later, and this was like at Zany's in Old Town, and eventually the manager who I love so much was like, you have to ask for more money because he's robbing you. Wow. And I haven't been back since he told me that.
That's Chicago for you.
And yeah, they call it home club syndrome, which is like they'll never kind of appreciate you.
Right.
Or see you for, like Chanel Ali is a Philly comic that started there. And I'm sure there's a couple clubs that she frequented, but Philly being one. And I was told that she kind of like never plays there. It was me, Buddy Smithsonian, and Chanel Ali. And Chanel's like an absolute killer, like so funny. And she crushed.
Right.
But I guess she's not getting booked there like to headline.
It's like there's a hierarchy and they like can't let go of it. They can't not see you bomb when you were younger.
Yeah.
And I think so in their head they categorize you. They're like, they're not ready, even when you are.
I know. Why hasn't there been like what was the Freddie Prinze Jr.? She's all that. Like you can have a transformation and go from like dork to hot, but it is tough to go from like terrible comic to like you transform into like.
That's your movie. I love it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure Rachel Lee Cook followed me on Instagram and I followed her back, and that's just kind of like a pretty big brag that I wanted to share.
That is.
You know, I'm a clout chaser.
I've told you this story. I've told it before, but that hotties.
Yeah.
The guy that
ran it.
Yeah.
He collects mushrooms now.
Yes.
In the woods.
He does.
Okay. He forages.
One time before I went on stage, he was like, "Do you want to make out?"
Stop.
And I said no. And I was also in shock.
No.
Absolutely in shock. First like 6 months in Chicago. I said no. And then he was like, okay. And then brings me up. And then I do my set or whatever. And then I told another female comic and they were like, he does that because he thinks it's a numbers game. And like, if you ask enough girls, like one of them's going to say yes and just kiss you.
I'm scared. Okay, I was alone with him in a car doing like an Elks Lodge in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. And there was a car on the side of the road. And he's like, let's pull over. And I was like, what? No. And he did anyway. He's like, stay in the car. And it's like, I'm not staying in the car. I should have gotten the driver's seat and driven away.
Yeah.
But I was like hostage. It's like a comic when they're like, you want to hear one more joke? It's like, nobody does. We'd like to go home. We're hostages. Take me home.
Or it's not working. Your like last joke isn't working. It's like, let me try another one. It's like, no, you're done.
Everybody's like, actually cut your losses.
Yeah. You already said you were done.
You know how I feel about this. If stand-up comics unionized, you'd have to pay a fine for going over your spot time. No. I'll never forget somebody I opened for. We were like, sometimes we fly, sometimes we drive to the next gig. Basically, the show was over, and we were gonna like either go back to the hotel or hit the road, like in a car service to the next city. And I'm just the opener. And he was like, wait a minute, I'll be back in a bit. And I was like, what? He's like, somebody's just here. And then because I don't know how I saw it. I feel like it was like the green room where the door was open or something where you can just see from like ankles down. He basically walked a girl back to that bathroom and she was wearing flip-flops. And he let her blow him. A flip-flopped woman after a show. Who's wearing flip-flops to a stand-up show?
Wow.
I'm like, I guess, sure, maybe you could argue with me that it's summertime or something, but I'm going to go ahead and say you got to have a closed-toe shoe.
It's cold in every comedy club, or at least it should be.
Yeah, and spooky stuff happens where you got to like pull your feet up, you know?
Being like like when people are like, what's the difference between like, how is it being a woman in comedy? Like, it is so different for stories like that. It's like the men and women that come up to me after my show, very different experiences. There was a woman that came up to me and was just like, can't even believe that like what I say is real. It's like, are you really gay or is that just your act? And I'm like, yeah, I'm lying about being gay to get ahead in the industry.
Yeah. Like, it's been proven to be easier over time.
The absolute freaks.
I know. I'm just sort of like, it's true though. I think Guy said it yesterday. It's like when I said most people think comics are lying.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of like, I don't want to say the general population is stupid because it's like maybe they think they're being smart about that. Like, I'm not falling for that. But I'm just sort of like, I guess we're surrounded by more frauds.
They don't understand how you could. I just think it's like you don't know how the process works, and to be like to be able to like creatively make you laugh in like a real story. I think people are like, wait, what? Like that's hopefully make you laugh. But
I also think too is obviously about choosing stories and like what you want to.
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about.
a lot of times we're also choosing stories that are just like, this is insane that this happened to me.
Or if I riff something, I need you and you have to be like, hey, I want to hear that more. I want to hear more of that.
Right. Milk bone.
Milk bone, for example, the time I ate a milk bone.
Beth ate a milk bone at a party.
It was what I was.
No,
on purpose. It was to make. I was flirting. My sister had a party. We had such a small house with one bathroom. It was 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and the bathroom was upstairs. Anyway, she has a huge party. Number one mistake was that it was snowing, and my mom was merely out for the evening, not the weekend. So when she came home, there was footprints everywhere, party. All across the lawn, cigarette butts. It was like a 3-hour party, time down to the minute. And I'm in the kitchen, everybody's drinking beer, and I decided to eat a milk bone to make some of these guys laugh.
It's funny because I just like when kids go to parties, they're like wanting to like, they're like, oh, maybe I'll hook up upstairs and like the Stelling mom. Yeah. And that you're downstairs shoving dog food in your mouth to make people laugh. Like it's so you.
It's the thing. Georgia, I actually caught her making out with, I think his name was Ryan, in my bunk bed. And it was the bunk beds that were like this because I had a stepsister at the time. And they were on this one across my Simba sheets. It was during that strange time in your life where you're like, do I still play with dolls or read this Cosmo magazine about how to touch the perineum?
And they're like, whatever, I have Simba sheets.
Let's go, Kirsten. My American doll was Kirsten. I can't believe I even got one. An American doll.
Yeah, I can't believe.
I think now they're crazy expensive. But then they were expensive.
Yeah. I wanted Samantha, you know that.
Yeah.
So bad.
And now you have a Samantha.
Yeah. Then I married a Samantha.
So sometimes we are curious about what the other person's Discover looks like, and I think it says a lot about you. You know?
Oh, like yes. It is kind of embarrassing,
new,
though.
I will just say this. If I meet somebody new and it's come up organically, they've asked me and I've decided to be honest about my job or something, they're like, oh, I want to find you. And I'm like, okay, wonderful. You know? And I say, my name is this, and they open up their Instagram to put it in. Wow, I'm really looking at your Discover.
Yeah.
I am looking at your Discover, and I'm discovering a lot about you.
Right. It's a good way. Like, if you ever are on a first date with someone, if you can get a hold of their phone.
Wait. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got scared. We were talking about Brett earlier because Mo's been touring with Brett Goldstein on the road.
Brett,
of Ted Lasso
her
fame.
whole Discover page is you.
No.
If you're listening.
No, we were talking about him earlier, and he is top left here.
I know, they do. That our phones are listening.
Hannah Waddingham, right?
I have a thing. Well, first of all, a lot of mine is basketball, but then it's also like I have a lot of like I looked up one bad story about somebody dying in a surfing accident, and now like my whole page is just like in memoriam for like freak accidents.
No.
And it's so hard. I'm like, how do I get out of this?
Oh my gosh, probably because yesterday also we were talking about people getting too jacked up on those Panera superchargers.
Oh yeah. That better not be the snack.
Mine's disturbing animals, a lot of skin conditions.
Oh, you do have a lot of skin.
Yeah,
yours
and like pimple popping.
Yours is always skin conditions.
Mine's field hockey, and then it'll always be like comedy related. Like here's Io, a debris. And
yeah, but then like every 4 is like a burn. It's like like a worm in someone's skin or something.
Or tattoos.
I can't watch Pimple Popper. I can't do that.
I do. I find it satisfying, and I usually watch like this. Like
yeah,
I actually always have to cover my mouth. I think it's a strange.
It is. It's
thing
kind
that
of
I've
like
done since I was a kid.
I think it's genetic if you like it or not. Like cilantro. Yeah, I do. I'm just like I can't like when you're gonna be playing this right now. Yeah, that's like that shit.
Ooh.
I cannot. Okay, good.
It is satisfying to see stuff come out of people's skin.
Don't you think there is like a
get it out? Get out the bad
Do you
stuff.
want to do that to your boyfriend? Do you want to, if you see a pimple, do you want to pop it? Because there is
I
like
do
a
remember one time popping one on an ex's forehead, and he got so mad at me. He was like, ow. I mean, we agreed to let me do it. And then he's like, you scarred me. And I honestly think I did. And that was not on purpose, clearly.
But there is a certain person like I've been in relationships, they're like, let me just do it. And I'm like, don't touch my skin.
Agreed.
Like that, you will not be attracted to me.
Yeah, I'm
if you see
definitely
the
not
insides.
like, let's pick each other.
Yeah.
I'm not like a little chimpanzee situation. That's not hot to me.
Yes. Oh, we love Portos.
Hey.
Good job.
Thank you, Stella.
Thank
Portos.
you. Portos is an institution.
I don't think I've ever eaten. But hold on, is Portos also in Chicago?
No.
No,
this is like
Portillo's.
Portillo's is that's hot dogs.
Okay.
This is a bakery, but they have like everything. You can get like sandwich there, coffee.
I've seen the lines.
Yeah.
I'm honored right now. So Portos, it says West Covina, Northridge, portosbakery.com, Glendale, Burbank, Buena Park. Buena Park, that's my neighborhood from Chicago. Oh my God. It's a huge, Becky, look at her butt.
Look at that.
Oh my God, a tiramisu.
Incredible. That's beautiful.
We have to handle this with care.
Yeah.
I say we put these down on the ground so we don't break them on accident. And let me know when you're going to. Oh, look, there's a little knife back here. Wow, Portos has some stuff figured out.
Now, listen, when we get on OnlyFans, this is like the OnlyFans section where we're just eating this.
Here,
fully
we have
clothed.
this thing.
Oh, that's
open
nice.
the sides and then retape them so people can see?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry, people are going to be like, say it one more time, you butthole.
Look at that.
It's gorgeous. And these are called little lady fingers. They look like lady thumbs.
Yeah.
They're kind of thick girls.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you think this looks like?
What does that look like? I don't know. That's
on.
No, I'm not an improviser, Beth.
Come on.
I don't, unless it's fully scripted, I don't know.
It looks like maybe like sort of a tattered hat that fell.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you eat that part.
Okay. I think we could.
This is exciting. I'm gonna gain so much weight on this show, and I'm all for it.
I'm certainly not concerned with weight. I wonder if I'm going to hit a certain age where things will change for me and I won't metabolize any longer. But at this point in time, I eat whatever I want. Did you dribble a bit?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah, I think it's tough because I guess that comes with age, not caring about.
Yeah.
Also, I used to be chubbier, and I had jokes about it. Speaking of the one that Vince liked and stole, my mom would always say, because I found an email where I sent her my set, which is so funny to send my mom a set.
Was it
just like
just
Mom,
the transcript?
be proud of me. I sent it to my whole family.
Was it transcript or
a video?
Oh, great.
And my aunt replied, like, we're so proud of you. This is like 2007 or something. Who knows? Or 6. I don't know. 8, 9. Who cares? And my mom was like, honey, it was the sweetest thing. I thought I read this to you. It was just like, I just hope you remember to be nice to yourself. I'm so proud of you and you're so beautiful. Because I was like, I'm fat.
You're like, self-deprecation.
Nobody loved me.
My mom went to the Laugh Factory with me once, when early days in LA.
Oh,
and
God.
afterwards she goes,
I
didn't know there were that many ways to talk about masturbation. Because it was just every single comic, including me. Just
well,
like
so much
everybody.
has changed, even about like body image and
you still get the masturbation jokes.
yes, masturbation still is going strong.
Yeah.
They're strong in the forearm region. But here's a little plate for you and a
Thank
and
you.
A fork. But yeah, I remember somebody called like a joke I had on Conan fatphobic. And it was hard for me not to say something back.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know, this girl thinks it's funny. And I showed one of my photos from when I was fat. And she goes, well, it doesn't matter if she thinks it's funny. I don't. And I go, that's me.
That is really funny. That's a great comeback.
Thank you. Yeah, lately when someone talks shit to me on the internet, I download their profile photo and I reply with a photo of themselves. I think it's a pretty solid move.
Has it worked?
And also somewhat confusing for them.
Okay.
But to me, I just go, take a look at yourself.
Does anybody want this? You guys are just...
Take a look at yourself.
Who wants cake?
Yeah. Okay. Here comes taste test Porto's tiramisu.
Mm-hmm. I think it's delicious. The chocolate really adds, like the top chocolate.
We need to eat that chocolate hat.
Oh yeah, no, we'll save that for the very end.
I don't think I got chocolate on that.
I think it's good. Sam, my wife, hates tiramisu because it's like she hates anything with coffee based, like coffee ice cream is like too adult for her. You know?
I used to like it.
Yeah. I like a latte ice cream. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Espresso pulled over
I think
ice cream.
I think we had one in Italy. Not to brag, but
We've
we went to Italy together and we had to stay
It
inside
took us many years,
a
but
lot.
we went to Italy.
Yeah, it was like 120 degrees. I'll never go back to Rome again. I'll never go back to Italy. Honestly, I'm not into it. I really am not. Like, hot take, I don't get it. I'm just like, everyone's
Mateo
like, the
earmuffs.
food.
What if Mateo's just
I know.
listening? He's a huge
he
fan.
now is going to Sicily, and I'm like, okay, I guess that sounds okay, but that's what I think every time I go to Italy. I go, oh, I'm just gonna go. If I go to Rome, and I'm like, it's not for me. It's too hot.
That was my first time there. Was that your first time?
No, I've been actually. I went to Italy with my first girlfriend, who was a traveling clown, and so we almost broke up in Florence.
Why?
We just weren't right for each other.
But you weren't getting along, or?
Yeah, we weren't getting along, and I just thought...
So irritation, like, can you pinpoint it? Because I can pinpoint a trip to Hawaii.
It was like, it was just one of those things where you're just like annoyed with the other person, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And we were like in the most romantic place on earth. And
Is it romantic though?
Yeah.
It's hot and it's
So
trash.
we couch surfed in Italy. There's like a website called freecouchsurfing.net.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the end on that.
Okay. There was a moment where I was like,
were you both sleeping on one couch?
In Italy, we went to this really small village.
You're like, who's on top tonight?
And this guy is always hosting couch surfers. It was so cold. You wouldn't even believe how cold it was. It was so cold that in the blanket, we had to put those like rubber heater things to put on your skin, like right against your skin. I'm sleeping on the floor and my girlfriend is sleeping on the couch. And that was a moment where I was like, if we get murdered, everyone would be like, yeah, duh, you fucking idiot. Like you're on the top of a hill in Italy on couchsurfing.net.
Yeah.
But
what
anyway,
was the famous
I
woman?
still
Amanda
went back
Knox,
to Italy
right?
after that.
Amanda Knox was the murder situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not bringing that up to go into it.
Well, actually, that
details,
town was around where we were staying when we went to that castle together.
So it sounds like you really were
I did my research.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
Are we having more? Or?
I'm gonna. We have this whole cake.
Okay, I think that for me, I just wanted to get a little bit of this chocolate hat. And I can cut someone else a piece if they want any. I guess all I'm saying is I loved Italy, and I guess that's where Mo and I are incompatible.
Yeah.
I loved Italy. Rome was way too hot for sure. I am all about the coffee. And I liked our hotel. That was cool.
The hotel was cool.
I liked being there with you.
I
even
liked
though
the
riding
friend
the bird
situation.
scooters was dangerous, I did it.
Yeah.
And I also have to admit that Jordan and I also had a few drinks and rode scooters down a
You guys
very
rode
steep
the
hill.
same scooter too.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, I drove the scooter and she was on the back of it.
Yeah.
She clung to me and we went downhill
And
a
I walked
very
home.
windy hill after pizza and wine. We were giggling. We could have absolutely died.
Yeah. I mean,
And that's
look at
kind
us.
of what living is.
Yeah.
But yeah, George Orfeh and I and Mo had a blast. I don't need to go back, but I guess I'd go back with you because you hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go back. I'm just like, here's the thing. We live in LA, and whatever people want to say, there's really good food in LA. We go to New York a lot. I think that there's great food everywhere. And people say, oh, it's going to change. The way that the pizza's made. I'm like, sorry, this is no different. It's no different. Like the best pizza in New York or LA.
I hear what you're saying in the sense that sometimes when you go to a foreign country and, if you're someone that didn't get to take trips growing up or whatever, it's like cool that you are able to even do it. You're like, wow, I can't believe I'm here as an adult. I'm able to do this. And then two things, and I'm guilty of this. It's frustrating because you want to try to speak the language, but if you're not prepared at all, it's all pretty Americanized. And even though you wouldn't be prepared for it, you're bummed that like everyone's just kind of like speaking English. And you're like, we suck.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah.
This is on us.
You're like, this is not under the Tuscan sun.
No.
Yeah.
And then, there's McDonald's and, and you see people eating at it and you're like, we've officially ruined everything.
Yeah.
I guess the place to even eat McDonald's is in a different country where they probably have regulations to keep it food.
Oh, that's true. I had my very first fish fillet on tour a few months ago. First fish fillet of my life.
And?
It was I was surprised that it had just a piece of cheese on it. I didn't know that was
just cheese, no other
It's like
toppings?
an American piece of cheese and then the patty, and then I didn't get the sauce. Yeah,
well, sauce is kind of.
But it was the only thing open in Tacoma, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and it stunk up my hotel room, and I felt like garbage, but I thought it was pretty good.
That's when you got to leave a little tip for housekeeping so they don't start tweeting about your pussy being stank.
Yeah. I promise. Yeah.
It wasn't me.
I always loved chicken nuggets, but I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, now that I have a kid, I'm like, am I even allowed to have chicken nuggets? Like, it feels wrong dipping ketchup and having chicken nuggets.
Because you feel juvenile or because you want to live longer?
Because I feel like, no, just because for some reason I'm just like, this is for a child.
I see.
Yeah.
I could
There's
never
something
really,
about dipping.
I'm not saying I never did chicken nuggets at McDonald's. My order was the 2 cheeseburgers with fries.
So you were always eating like an adult, like when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Did you get a Happy Meal?
I grew up way too fast and I lived that way. I never will. I remember getting Happy Meals because I wanted the toys, especially during the Beanie Baby craze. My God.
Oh, God.
What a wild
Are you
ride.
kidding me?
The Beanie Baby craze, and then you wanted the mini ones, and gosh.
Oh, those were the best.
If you had a mom that worked hard for the money, you actually had to like do stuff to get one.
I'm trying to buy a TV with a VCR in it right now, and it's so expensive.
Why?
Because they don't really make them anymore. Because I think it's really hard for my daughter's 4. It's so easy to teach her to just like put one of those in. You teach her which ones rewind and which ones play. But like the iPads and stuff, it's like swipe up, okay, put in this like code and then like go to this app, and it's just really
and you want to
confusing.
be able to leave her alone for upwards 5 hours.
Exactly. I want to be able to at least get one set in, go do a show, come back, and she's still watching
She's still trying to figure out this newfangled VHS system. I'm like, I just remember, like, obviously the rewinding seemed so tedious. Be kind, please rewind.
You basically get arrested if you didn't.
But that's the thing. I'm the rule follower. I would always rewind. And if I didn't, I felt like it was a crime. Even when the Turo thing, when I did my first Turo car rental in Philly, so I could get to practice for field hockey. And
oh, you got the gas, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because it kept leading me to 7-Elevens for some reason. And she was like, no, don't worry. Like I don't want to say poor person, but like the more frugal on a budget person.
Yeah.
I would say poor to exaggerate because I also drove a rich guy's car. That's kind of why I was going there in my head.
Right.
But like the more working class person who had 2 kids and I'm driving their Nissan, perfectly great car. I rented it on Friday to get to practice. I couldn't find one and I sent her the screenshots. I'm like, it keeps sending me to 7-Elevens and I'm in Philly and I don't know where I am. She said, please don't worry. I only used less than a quarter of a tank.
Right.
She said, don't worry. She doesn't charge me. Next day, I'm driving this Range Rover because it was the closest thing to me. Ooh. And of course, it was more expensive to rent.
Yeah.
Which I understand, whatever. It's a nice car.
It's actually nice to, that's why I like Turo, because you can test drive cars that like you can't otherwise.
And again, this is perfectly within his rights as the car owner. I said, it's St. Patrick's Day, it's crazy, and it was. I felt safer just returning the car than trying to get gas. I was like going through like zombies.
Right.
So he said, no problem.
I never get gas, but I just act like an idiot. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot you're supposed to do that.
Well, do they ask you in the app?
They're almost every single time they're just like, oh, it's fine, we'll just charge you. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, he just charged me, and like I'm saying, it's a $10 convenience fee, and then whatever the gas was. I just find it interesting that he was like, and here's your $17 bill.
Right.
And the other woman was like, I got to get home to my 2 kids, and no problem.
It's like no problem at all. I think that our when we used to go to like Family Video and Blockbuster, we actually got collections. Like collections would come after us because that's how much like we would like not bring back the tape or have the late fees, and our late fees would go to collections. My mom and dad had like the worst credit, and we just get collections just for the late fees, which is so illegal.
Is that when they, what's it called, from your paycheck?
They like have somebody call in your house and they're like, you owe this, and like if you don't do this, we're lawyer up. I mean, like it's all
lawyer up.
Yeah, they're like so scary, and it was all on like late fees.
You've had Beethoven for 3 years.
Yeah. How many times did someone watch that movie?
We don't know where it is. You end up paying $700 for a VHS of Beethoven.
They would do the same thing for the library with late fees.
Yeah, I know.
But
you guys had a library
kids
problem.
And it's like, yeah. We're all not returning stuff.
I was so scared to not return a library book or Blockbuster was a full night. That was definitely a lot of the nights I spent with my girlfriends growing up. Go pick a movie. But the saddest part was like when you pick the movie and it's not right behind it.
Yeah, that was the worst because that was the new releases.
Yeah.
So
you're like, let's go see. And sometimes they had double behind it. But you guys, imagine there just being one of each movie at a Blockbuster the weekend it comes out.
Right.
Now, of course, they would have a bunch of
but it'd be like what?
Copies of
25 or whatever. You get 25 copies.
Let's do Patch Adams.
In the city of Chicago, People that work there are like, hey, Beethoven just dropped. Yeah.
I got the inside.
Hey, Bonnie Hunt is great in it.
It's going to be huge this weekend. You're going to want to come in early. Don't worry, I'll set it aside.
Set it aside if you...
And then you look behind the person working, you're like, I can see it right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the position has been filled.
Oh my God, it was so bad. We would just be like sweating our asses off. Like, if we have like $100 bill when we get up to this register and we can't get this from late fees.
Oh my gosh.
So
and
I
just
just
for
want
the record, for those listening to this Sweethearts episode, we said yes to the tiramisu cake from Porto's.
Yes, we do say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very nice and fluffy.
And I actually do have to get out of here right now because I have to go on a date.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got some acts of service lined up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Couple task rabbits?
Yeah. And
I actually went Sam's birthday for 1 year. We this was probably the best one.
Mm-hmm.
She came home from work. And I was like, hey, why aren't you packed yet? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I actually filmed this. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, we're leaving in like 2 hours. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're going to Vegas. And like I had pre-planned that her parents would watch Cleo.
Aww.
And then we went to Vegas and had the drunkest time of our lives. As
it was
mom,
a wild time.
Nobody parties like new mom's party.
And we will be telling you that story on the episode in 5.
Oh yeah,
4,
we probably cannot.
3,
yeah.
2,
1.